A girl glances back, only to see the car swing around and give chase. In the dead of night, the sight sends a jolt of panic through her heart pounding. She quickens her pace, just when she's sure she's about to be caught. The car roars past her, thundering by at breakneck speed, but when she reaches the next intersection, she sees that same car again. Before she can even react, a man steps out from the shadows, blocking her path. The unexpected turn of events leaves Lisa utterly terrified. In order to save her life, Lisa is forced to comply with the man. She believes that if she obeys, he will let her go. But the twisted Joe doesn't seem satisfied. He blindfolds Lisa with a strip of cloth, then binds her hands tightly. He gives her no chance to escape. Faced with Joe's rough handling, Lisa lies helplessly in the car. She can only use the corner of her eye to take in her surroundings, but Joe offers her no opportunity. Before long, the car comes to a stop. Joe roughly drags Lisa out, warning her not to even think of trying anything. They lead Lisa to a dimly lit staircase. Though blindfolded, she peeks through a slit and notes the carpet's color. Silently, she counts the steps as they climb. Once they reach the second floor, Joe unties the ropes around her wrists, but then Lisa sees the gun in Joe's hand. She has no choice but to obey his orders again. Timidly, she strips off her clothes. Joe drags her into the bathroom. Lisa understands what's about to happen, yet she cannot bring herself to resist. After he's finished, Joe ties her up once more. He throws her onto the bed, brandishing his weapon as he warns her, "Be good, or I'll kill you." The next day, Lisa's grandmother arrives at the police station to report her missing. She claims her granddaughter hasn't come home in 2 days. It turns out Lisa's grandmother is a disreputable woman. At her age, she's taken on a much younger boyfriend. Both are lazy and leech off others, using Lisa as their personal cash source. Her grandmother's boyfriend often bullies Lisa. Originally, Lisa had a loving family, but her mother abandoned her with her grandmother, forcing Lisa to take care of the old woman. Fortunately, Lisa found a good boss. She works at a dessert shop to earn money, and everyone there adores her. The good days didn't last long. Lisa was kidnapped by that psychopath. When Joe tried to assault her again, Lisa took the initiative. Her feigned compliance lulled Joe into complacency. She reached out and carefully traced his facial features, committing his outline to memory. Then, with sweet words, she flattered him, telling Joe how handsome he was. To her surprise, Joe believed her. Not only did he untie her, but he even brought her some food. But at that moment, a news report on TV catches Joe's attention. It turns out Lisa's disappearance has already drawn the police's notice. Worse yet, Lisa is a minor. If the authorities continue their investigation, Joe will inevitably face prison. He's furious that Lisa hid her true age. Lisa had lied, claiming she was 20. That lie narrowly spares her from disaster, yet Joe refuses to let her go. He scoops Lisa up and throws her onto the bed. Lisa asks to use the bathroom, so Joe leads her into the bathroom. But Joe doesn't leave. He intends to keep watch over Lisa. Lisa pleads for a moment of privacy. Joe glances at her, then finally steps out. As the door clicks shut, Lisa carefully removes her blindfold. She scans the room. Once she's certain it's safe, she gently locks the door from the inside. But there's no way out of this bathroom. Then she hears Joe calling for her from outside. Despair washes over Lisa, yet she forces herself to stay calm. Gazing at her disheveled reflection in the mirror, she makes a decision. Even if she can't escape alive, she'll leave proof of her capture behind. So Lisa presses her fingertips against every surface in the bathroom, leaving her fingerprints in each corner as evidence. Just then, a pair of shoes catches Lisa's attention, but before she can examine them closely, Joe notices that Lisa has locked the door. Her actions completely enrage him. He points the gun at her neck. However, Lisa's response strikes a chord with Joe. She immediately apologizes, and even suggests getting him a glass of water. To Lisa's surprise, just that one small gesture makes Joe let her go. With that, Lisa's courage begins to grow. After Joe fell asleep, Lisa carefully made her way to the phone, but before she could dial, Joe grabbed her by the neck. He couldn't hold back any longer. He decided it was time to teach Lisa a lesson. However, in a moment of desperation, Lisa quickly fabricated a lie. She told Joe that she only wanted to check on her ailing father. Her father was her only source of support. Lisa begged Joe to understand her feelings. She even praised Joe, saying that he was just like her father, kind and warm-hearted. To Lisa's surprise, Joe believed her once again. He pulled her into a tight embrace. However, the news on the TV continued to broadcast about the serial killings, which made Joe increasingly uneasy. Lisa's presence only risked exposing him. To avoid being exposed, he decided it was time to take care of this problem. Lisa seemed to sense the danger. She begged Joe desperately, but he dragged her out and headed for the door. They quickly arrived at a gas station. Lisa had planned to escape while Joe was refueling the car, but as soon as she opened the car door, Joe noticed her attempt. Yet, it seemed that Lisa had already made peace with her fate. She gritted her teeth, enduring the pain, and bit her finger to leave behind evidence of her abduction in the car. Soon, Joe dragged Lisa to their destination. He grabbed her hands and pulled her through the woods. Paying no attention to Lisa's pleas for mercy, he dragged her to the base of a large tree. Faced with death, Lisa could no longer control her emotions. Maybe it was Lisa's desperate begging that touched Joe.
I don't want...
Or perhaps it was the fact that Lisa had never seen his face. But Joe seemed to relent. Letting go of his murderous intent, Lisa removed the blindfold. She looked at the massive tree before her, and for the first time, she felt a sense of rebirth. She quickly turned and ran toward home. However, Joe saw her fleeing in his rearview mirror. Seeing that Lisa didn't listen to him, Joe regretted his actions. He spun the car around and chased after her. Luckily, just as Joe was gaining on her, a police car passed by, giving Lisa the chance to escape. But Lisa never expected that when she got home, her grandmother wouldn't believe that she had been kidnapped. Her grandmother and her boyfriend even tried to hit her. Then, her grandmother called the police, suspicious that everything might just be a lie that Lisa made up. The police, however, insisted that, because this involved a minor, Lisa needed to come in and confirm the details herself. Upon hearing this, her grandmother warned Lisa not to speak out about what happened at home. When faced with the police's questioning, Lisa quickly recounted what had happened, but the police didn't believe her story. They pointed out that Lisa hadn't been injured during the kidnapping, and that the kidnapper even made her lunch, then let her go. The police thought this was clearly just a lie that Lisa had made up. Later, two female reporters interviewed Lisa about the case. Lisa told them about her abduction, but they expressed doubts about the clarity of her memory. They believed that a victim in such a critical situation couldn't remain so calm. Lisa had already endured so much suffering. Curled up on the couch, she felt an overwhelming sense of loneliness and pain. She couldn't believe that no one believed her. The two female reporters thought Lisa was making up a story. She explained everything to Officer Morris. Morris came back to ask Lisa again. Seeing she was reluctant to cooperate, he pulled out a photo of his daughter. Perhaps Lisa felt the sincerity in Morris's approach. She began to recount the details of her abduction once more. Morris observed Lisa closely. Convinced that she wasn't lying, he immediately arranged for an examination of her clothes. But strangely, Lisa's family opposed continuing the investigation. This made Morris realize that there might be a more complicated situation behind the case. Through patient guidance, Lisa finally revealed the truth. Her grandmother's boyfriend had been preying on underage girls for years, and he was arrested. Afterward, Lisa, under police protection, went home to pack her things, but her grandmother sat silently on the couch, not speaking a word. Perhaps in her eyes, Lisa was nothing more than a tool to make money. Leaving her grandmother's house, Lisa finally felt a sense of relief. Unfortunately, this experience left her with a heavy psychological burden. Every time night fell, the image of the kidnapper would resurface in Lisa's mind, making it impossible for her to sleep. Meanwhile, the police discovered crucial evidence in the fibers of Lisa's clothing. To their surprise, this evidence was identical to the one found in the serial killer case. This gave the police a new hope for solving the case. To help them further track the kidnapper's whereabouts, Lisa decided to take the police back to the scene of the crime. She sat in the car, closed her eyes, trying to recall the events of that day. Slowly searching for the route she had taken, miraculously, Lisa remembered the road signs. Following their guidance, they arrived at the destination. However, they didn't find any clues at first. Just then, Lisa seemed to notice something. She looked into the distance and started running frantically. With Lisa's help, the police successfully found the tree. The police quickly launched a thorough investigation and began reviewing the surrounding surveillance footage. Before long, they had identified the twisted killer. They even gathered numerous photos of potential suspects for Lisa to identify. After some effort, Joe was apprehended by the police at the supermarket entrance. What was shocking was that all the evidence at the crime scene perfectly matched Lisa's description. They even found a large number of Lisa's fingerprints. This girl, who was initially not believed, had earned the applause of all the officers present. Upon hearing about Lisa's ordeal, her aunt traveled from far away, bringing her a warm and loving home. Finally, Lisa embraced the happiness she had always dreamed of. This is a film based on a true story. Years later, Lisa became a deputy sheriff. She proved through her actions that, no matter how great the challenges, as long as there is love, there is hope. Not only did she heal herself, but she also dedicated her life to helping others heal. She worked tirelessly to ensure that every child could grow up in an environment filled with love and care.